4 wins away from a bowl game. I'm amped. I can't tell you how amped I am. 4 games away, and Garrett Schrader looks like he's ready to lead any offense in the country. This is Locked On Syracuse. It's right now.
Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Matt Bonaparte, Owen Valentine with you on this wonderful Monday morning. Today's episode is brought to you by Underdog. Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com with the promo code LOCKEDON and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. And thank you for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen every day. We're free. We're available wherever you get podcasts. We're here for you every weekday. What a game that was against UConn. Syracuse is 2-0 on the season for the first time since 2018. And you'd think Sean Tucker's the only reason why. Garrett Schrader has been the man. On the season, he's only missed 10 passes. He's 38 for 48. That's 80%, nearly 79.2. 524 yards through the air and 5 touchdowns through the air. Last year, he only had 1,400 yards through the air. He's already creeping up towards that number right now through 2 games. Schrader has been impeccable. How about that throw to Damian Alford? I was thinking about you, Owen, when I saw it. That throw was crazy. A perfect throw. That is the best throw I've ever seen him make.
What have I been saying all preseason through game one going into this week? I hear he's got a better arm. The arm is improving. The arm is improving. This. He's so much better. He's so much better. I needed to see it. I needed that one throw where he actually rears back and throws the ball more than 10 yards and hits someone, and it was absolutely perfect. He threaded a needle perfectly in stride, results in 6. It was exactly what I needed to see to solidify the Garrett Schrader is as advertised going into this season. The changes seem real. He has improved. He threw for almost 300 yards. We called him out last week and said, can you do it? And he's 13 yards shy. He throws for a career high passing yards and just, snags 5 total touchdowns on the day. Absolutely electric. That throw was everything that I needed to see to become a full member of the Garrett Schrader train right now.
That pass, I think somebody replied to us on Twitter saying this. And if you want to reply to us on Twitter, go shoot us a follow at @LO_Syracuse. And if you want to show or give us your thoughts, questions about games, about anything Syracuse related, email us losyracuse44@gmail.com. I think somebody replied to us that it was the exact same throw as the Virginia Tech game last year where he walked it off in Blacksburg. Same throw, same guy, Damian Alford, except on that one, he got absolutely pummeled after releasing the ball, and I don't think the throw is as clean. But it was the same kind of idea, except that throw to Alford in the UConn game was a beauty. I mean, really, perfect. He was fantastic. Sean Tucker didn't have his best game. I was sitting there and I think everybody else was like, wow, Sean's not playing as well as I thought he would this game. The dude still ran for 112 yards and a touchdown. He still broke 100 yards. I tweeted during the game, do you guys think he's pleased with this performance? I don't know. I guess we'll only find out today. Well, we're recording this on Sunday, but I don't know if he will. But, 112 yards and a touchdown, I think I'll take it.
Is that not just the perfect nod to him that we're questioning whether or not he's pleased and we're saying it was a little underwhelming and he wasn't incredible? And he runs for 100 plus, scores a touchdown, only averaged 4 yards a carry. He was human yesterday.
I didn't think we'd be in this spot of Syracuse football fans being like, wow, we only got 100 yards from our running back.
What a nod to Sean that we're nitpicking a 100-yard performance where he just did his thing. He didn't do anything too flashy, and ends up with, what was this? Is that 15 for 100-yard games now? I think. I
Something like
I
that.
don't want to throw another stat error out there. I think it's 15. I could be wrong. I'm gonna give
I'll look.
myself a
I'll look.
it would I'm gonna give myself a -1. I don't think it's 16. But either way, I mean 100 yards again, and we're not sure how good he
13.
played. 13? Does that include yesterday?
It does.
Oh god. 13. They both end in teen. We'll take that as a win. Um, it's really a nod to him though, is what I have to say about Sean. And I don't really think there's all too much to break down from him. He did his thing a little bit, and this is a Garrett Schrader day. This was a passing day. I want to celebrate what we saw through the air more than the little things that maybe I would have wished. Sean breaks out for that longer run and has another 160-yard game maybe where he's got 2 touchdowns and now he's the front page of the Heisman candidacy, whatever. This is what Sean's going to do. He's going to get his fill. Occasionally it's not going to be in the most flashy way, but I almost think that this is showing me that Sean is that good of a running back just because he is still able to grind and get, those 6, 7, 8-yard carries, early down situations, put them in good spots where they can have the ability to air it out a little bit and take a riskier pass and take that throw. And when Garrett's going to go 20 for 23 through the air, any yards on the ground are going to help you, tremendously.
I also really liked that the offense featured what Taj Harris could have been in last season. And they found it in Aronde Gatson, which is
Yeah.
just a short option that he can always hit if the play breaks down. And they saw him do that 3 times that game. Gadsden had 45 yards, and every single time it was like on a curl route. And it was whenever Schrader needed to pass, you found Aronde Gadsden. If he can be that all year long against every single team, Syracuse is in a fantastic position right now to win games anytime they go out there. We saw a lot of diversity in terms of pass catchers in this game. Everybody, Max Mang caught a pass. Danny Villari caught a pass for 22 yards. Everybody was out there catching passes, man. It was fantastic. 3 guys caught touchdowns. How about DeMarcus Adams, the transfer, catches a touchdown? I thought that was fantastic as well. Everybody was out there catching touchdowns. The defense, by the way, which we'll get to a little bit later, was also fantastic.
There were
But
10 pass
first,
catchers, Bones.
I
10
know,
pass
isn't that
catchers in this
crazy?
game.
They only had 7 in the first game. Now they have that's crazy. Like 10 in this game. That's nuts, man. I wonder, while I read this ad, how about you find out what that makes the season total at
I would
in terms
assume
of
10.
pass catchers? Oh, we'll see. Okay. This episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to spice up college football season. It's easy to play. You can win cold, hard cash in a single game. And Underdog has investment backing from Mark Cuban, Kevin Durant, Adam Schefter, and more. Sign up with the promo code Locked On, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Deposit $100, get $100 free. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or find the Underdog Fantasy app in the App Store or Google Play Store. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Locked On. Get in on the college football pick'em action today. Okay, Matt Bonaparte, Owen Valentine back with you here on Locked On Syracuse, talking SU's big win over UConn. A lot to a little was the final score. Did you find that stat?
11 on the season. LaQuint
Wow.
Allen with two receptions week 1 and none in week 2, being the 11th there on that list. So we
Okay.
actually talked last week about how UConn had 11 pass catchers through 2 weeks, and we said it in
And
almost
we
a
thought that was
negative.
nuts.
And now
Yeah.
we're gonna spin zone it into a
I didn't
positive.
think it was a negative, but
It
I
was
just
just
thought it was crazy.
yeah, I think it was our point was just that they didn't have, and I guess that's going to translate exactly into maybe a discussion we have moving forward and have had in the past. It was more of a nod to they don't have that number 1 receiver they're still working through that. A lot of
That is the
options
case,
that
yeah.
can catch passes. And I think it translates perfectly to sort of where we see this team right now. And that was a question asked in the press conference after the game. You've got Alford, Gadsden, Jackson, Marcus Adams with a big catch, Devon Cooper with 3 catches. Like, he seemed like he could be in that conversation week 1, still in that conversation. There's 4 or 5 receivers right now that I feel like any of them can step up. Maybe there's greater likelihoods from certain ones than others, but this is a really spread out receiving core right now with a lot of options. And you sort of mentioned Gadsden's role, and I think he will stay in that. And in that role, I think it kind of takes him out of being that number one sort of deep ball option or big play option, as he's more of the, he's going to be that security blanket. He's going to be open consistently, and maybe he's not the first look, but he's going to be there. He's going to get his fill every game. I don't know exactly who is going to become option one. Courtney Jackson seemed to jump back onto the scene yesterday, which I thought was pretty cool. I was excited to see him sort of going into the year. I thought he could be that guy. He was sort of
I think a lot of people did,
yeah, as many others did. And week 1 didn't play terribly by any means, but didn't really show that he was in that conversation in the first week. Devon Cooper had that big week in week 1. And this week he comes in and, should almost have 2 touchdowns. I don't know where they found the camera angle or why they didn't show us the camera angle that showed any evidence of where he was holding the ball when his knee went down on that first drive. But on the, 1 foot line from being a 2 touchdown scorer in this game, he played really well. I love to see that. And I do like how many options that there were in this game, and them just being able to go wherever the open man was and mix things up and try a lot of stuff and just continue to go. Here's one, bang. There you go, Damian, in stride down the field. Aronde, a little quick dump off. I thought I was seeing deja vu on the first drive as they go Devon Cooper with like a 10-yard pass and then Aronde Gadsden with like a 10-yard pass on back-to-back plays. It was pretty much an identical start in terms of those 2 receivers, week 1 and week 2. And then week 2, they end up with 7 instead of 3. So I'm really pleased with what I've seen from these receivers. I saw the big play, Damian Alford in stride. I will continue to talk about it because of how much it sort of meant to me in terms of solidifying Schrader, in terms of that. I was asking for it last week too. Give me a receiver that just beats his defender and is open down the field and makes a play. And that's what he did. And there were a couple other moments too. I think it was Isaiah Jones maybe that just got up and found the ball at its peak inside the 10 or somewhere around there. It was nice to see some receivers just getting out there, making a big play and saying, hey, we're back in terms of this receiving room. We've got options. We've got dogs in this room, and we can do what we want.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I want to talk about the defense a little bit as well before we get to potential vote getting talk. How about Marlowe Wax in this game?
Dude.
He didn't have a huge day. Like, he only had 2 tackles on the day, but the one play he had where he sacked the quarterback, forced a fumble, and recovered it, like, that was nuts. It was a nuts play. He's a freaking dog, man. And we thought, and we'll really figure it out next week against a real opponent in Purdue. But everybody thought that the linebacker room was going to take a huge step back, whatever. Derek McDonald looked fine to me. He had half a tackle for loss, 4 tackles on the day. He looked fine. And I think the linebackers are going to be totally fine too, because you have guys like Marlowe Wax who are going to have to step up into Stephon Thompson's role. And he's going to be the guy taking on two offensive linemen now, instead of just having a clear shot at the quarterback whenever he wants it. So the linebackers are going to be totally fine. But Marlowe was a dog in that game. I thought that Michael was really good as well. There were a couple of plays where nobody was really tackling, and Michael was like, really, guys? And then he would just put a guy on the ground. So, I love watching that defense play. A lot of heavy hitters in that game. Cinco had a great tackle on one of those kickoffs. Elijah Clark,
me. You were so excited.
Awesome. Yeah, because he's the man.
So excited.
That was a fantastic, best tackle I saw all day. It was from Cinco. That guy's awesome, and I'm really, really happy that he's playing for this team. Deuce had a really good game. You didn't see him
Yeah.
very often because you could not throw to his guy. I think
Yeah.
they threw to his guy like early in the game, and from that point, it was like, okay, you just can't throw at Deuce because he's too much of a dog.
No. I
Garrett
love watching
Williams had a
Deuce run his
sack.
mouth
Like,
too.
yeah, so
Deuce
do I.
just chirps. It's awesome.
He's great. The defense looked really good. I'm really happy in what we're looking at in this defense. A lot of confidence,
And I
just
was
because they're so good.
yeah, I was tweeting this out yesterday. I mean, late in the game, I'm watching Jeremiah Wilson come in and have the absolute time of his life while having an absolute field day in mid to late fourth quarter time or earlier in the fourth quarter. 1.5 tackles for loss. He is just celebrating, firing everyone up. He was on the half tackle for loss. I forget who he split with, but you would have thought that it was in a solo sack where he just secured the game. He popped up so energetic, so fired up, high five, high five, high five, going nuts. That energy is 100% contagious. And I think the future of DBU is I am incredibly excited as long as his name stays in that conversation because he is absolutely electric. And watching him just fire everyone up, fire me up, it was really, really fun to see. But this defense as a whole, I mean, they did the job. I know I asked for under 14, not including 14. They did exactly 14. So technically they didn't please me to perfection. But I think that's an incredible showing from this defense. There's one play, right? There's one play where you have a little lapse and UConn pops off for 7. It
Yeah,
happens. And it's
it
easier to
happens.
let that happen when you're up, 3-4 scores. So
Totally.
it's okay. You'll look at that play, you'll see what happens, what went wrong, make some adjustments. But this defense came out, they did their job. I had a lot of fun watching this defense play. I think Zion Turner is just going to have nightmares with Marlo Wax showing up for as long as it takes him to get over that hit and that fumble and everything because he absolutely was leveled. And then, oh, here's a football. Good stuff. It was
Absolutely.
perfect. The defense did what I wanted them to see, or what I wanted to see. We asked for multiple turnovers. That's a big ask, right? You get 2 fumbles technically, so I guess they loopholed into multiple turnovers, given the botched punt. But this was a really, really solid performance on all ends of the field. And I think there is so much that you can build from this game, even if it is a UConn, even if it is a game that you were favored by 24 points. There is so much that you can take away and you can bring to next week and the next week against Purdue and Virginia, where these are incredibly important games to getting to that 6-game margin. We said going into this episode, 4 games. 4 games, you're 4 wins away. These 2 are 2 games that you circle on the schedule. And if Syracuse makes a bowl, it is because they execute in these 2 weeks.
I think you're absolutely correct in that. I don't think we can chalk up the end of the schedule to wins because I think everybody in Syracuse media has been doing that a little bit. But those ones are certainly more winnable than these ones coming up. So you're totally correct about it. If they win these ones coming up, there's a really good shot a bowl is inevitable. All right, let's take a quick break. On the other side, we'll talk about, is Syracuse getting close to being ranked? Is that a thing? But first, as you gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Okay. So we know that in the coaches poll last week, Syracuse got 4 votes, which is crazy. And the first time that anybody has given Syracuse a chance in terms of ranking since the beginning of the 2019 season, when they were ranked going into that Maryland game where they got absolutely embarrassed. Um, I can't say I thought they were going to have a chance at being ranked going into this year. And of course, it is very early in the season, so we don't know exactly how everything's going to pan out. But right now, Syracuse looks like a really, really good team and one that is probably going to go to a bowl game if it keeps this up. Um, I don't know. They might receive a vote this week. I don't think there's a chance they're ranked this week, but they might get like 1 or 2 votes just because there have been so many upsets. Like you have 2 teams falling out of the top 10 in A&M and Notre Dame. Um, Alabama only won by 1 point to Texas. Not saying they're going to lose any spot, but it's just upset city this year. Pitt lost. Um, NC State did win.
Yeah.
Wake Forest, they won. But there's just a lot of upsets happening right now. And I think Syracuse totally has a chance to be ranked going into the week after this upcoming one if
Yeah.
they beat Purdue.
Yeah.
That's a total possibility just because Purdue is a real team who lost to a Penn State squad that is probably going to be ranked this week. They were number 27 in the last poll. They're probably going to bump up this week. So, I mean, it would be pretty crazy if they beat Purdue. I don't see them not being at least in the conversation, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you look at this week, right? You were talking about the losses, the upsets, right? 6, 8, 9, 12, 17, 19, and 25 lost this week. It's a
Wow.
lot of ranked losses. Some of them are against other ranked teams, but I think that's only the case in 2 spots, with Pitt losing and with who else lost to a ranked team? Oh boy, I had another one. Oh, and with Florida losing to Kentucky. But you have, ranked teams falling to unranked programs, and some some more notable than others. I think I saw that Notre Dame paid Marshall, I think $1.25 million to play that game.
Probably, yeah.
Um,
That was crazy.
that's hysterical. But you there's a lot of parity right now, in terms of upsets and ranked teams falling, and I don't know exactly what next week's schedule looks like with especially teams in the 20s and who they're playing. If they're playing any fringe teams, I mean, there's your opportunities, right? I mean, Miami, I guess they're playing A&M. Are they going to drop 10 spots out of the rankings? I don't know, but you've got some decent teams that'll be playing. NC State plays Texas Tech, who just knocked off a ranked team this week. There's options, there's opportunities for teams to fall, definitely. And I think if Syracuse knocks out Purdue, which is not a gimme by any means, which is a game that they're going to have to battle, a game that they're going to have to play really well in order to win, but is 100% winnable. I believe they can be a ranked team next week. We put that up on Twitter after the game on Saturday, and a lot of discussion. And I think the pretty consensus response was that this team will be ranked if they beat Purdue next week in the Dome. That environment, I would assume, is going to be a fun one. I hope a good number of people are there because that's going to play a big role. I was there week 1. That place got loud in week 1. And now that place has an opportunity against a Power 5 non-conference opponent with a lot on the line in terms of bowl eligibility, in terms of this ranking and the possibility of a ranking, in terms of just the stakes of the rest of the season. I would assume that place gets loud and is going to be a tough place to play on Saturday. But this is a reality and a discussion that I did not foresee in week 3
Oh,
on our Monday
and
episode
and
entering
just
week
talking
3.
about Purdue, in the eyes of the vote getters, Purdue is better than Syracuse right now because in the
Yeah,
last poll they got a vote. They got one vote for losing by 4 points. So right now, I mean, I don't know how close this game's going to be. I will say that a lot of my research on Purdue is going to happen like tomorrow, so I don't have a lot to say about them. But all I do know is that they play a tough schedule, same as Syracuse. They play
yeah,
the Big Ten schedule, which is even more difficult. So they're going to be a good team. They were a good team last year, a 9-win team last year. So
yeah,
Syracuse has its work cut out for it, but this is a new Syracuse team, one that I don't think that Jeff Brom realized he was going to have to face because they probably thought they weren't going to be very good like everybody else did coming into this season, who thought they were going to win 4 games or something. But hey, they have a really good chance right now to make their mark, and this game among the next two, which is Virginia, will define a little bit what this season is going to be. It will
yeah,
show you what kind of team Syracuse is. If they get blown out, like how do they even respond in the Virginia game? Like, what's the story there? Like, how do they come out and attack Purdue? Are they going to do their homework? Like, it's going to be a very telling game, I think.
yeah. I think so as well. And I mean, when you look at this game, especially from Purdue's perspective too, right? You playing a Big Ten schedule. You have to play, the Big Ten, especially when you look through Purdue's schedule. They don't have the most difficult schedule or year in terms of ranked opponents at this point. But I think you look at a team like Syracuse on your schedule, especially preseason, maybe it's shifted a little bit in terms of the confidence level of this game in their eyes. But this is by all means a circled game on their schedule as a really good opportunity to snag a non-conference win against a decent team, but not necessarily your most difficult opponent that you're going to be playing this year. I think this is, equally, if not more important for them as well at 1-1 with a close loss to Penn State to come into Syracuse and get the job done on the road against a team that I think in the media's eyes, they think is better than Syracuse. Going into the season, I think that people thought was better than Syracuse. I'm interested to see. I have not seen one yet. What the opening line is for this game, because I think that'll be telling. I would assume Purdue. I'm gonna say Purdue. My guess would be Purdue, but 2.5 would be the spread, given that it's in the dome. But I don't know. We can look into that. It might even be out right now, and I just haven't seen it yet. Um, but this is an opportunity on both sides with a lot at stake. And to get back to where we started on this is a game where even I forget who replied and said it would be brief, but this is a game that very much can put a number beside Syracuse's name for at least a week, if not 3 weeks, until they head into NC State. And then, oh no, they host NC State. So until they host NC State, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Yep. Well, that's all we got for your Monday episode. Thanks for making Locked On Syracuse your first listen every day. Go get more on the ACC by making Locked On ACC your second listen every day. Host Candace Cooper and the local experts of the Locked On take you across the ACC in 30 minutes. Make Locked On ACC your second listen every day. I'm at Bonaparte. He's out Owen Valentine. We will see you tomorrow, and soon we will gear up to talk Purdue. That's a nooner on Saturday. We'll see you then.